What's going on, y'all? I know this is an untimely video, but I ran across this video right here. So, this right here is, oops, hang on a minute. Okay. So, this is Tom Stephen A. Smith got checked on national television. That's what the title says. Uh, I did watch one just earlier, and it was the same thing, but it was about Skip Bayless. So this video right here was uploaded 2 months ago on May the 8th. Okay. So I'm not gonna waste any time. Let's check this out. Time says Stephen A. Smith got checked, embarrassed, humiliated. Check this out.
It pays to be a little controversial, and clearly, this is true in the case of Stephen A. Smith. A man who began as a journalist for a Philly newspaper before rising up the ranks, Stephen's bold opinions and brash hot takes has meant that he's majorly in demand. In fact, his recent 5-year, $100 million deal with ESPN, which was signed this year, makes him number 3 among the highest paid sports media personalities in America, right behind Charles Barkley and Tom Brady. But there is debate over why he commands this kind of fee. Some people feel he has valuable insights, while others just live to see him get clowned by the same NBA players and pundits that he regularly runs his mouth about.
Oh yeah,
In
I remember
turn,
that.
often making him more of a big news story than what's happening on the court. It's your boy Lil Hoopsta, and this is when Stephen A. Smith gets checked. And where better to start than with the modern day GOAT contender who is practically ready to squabble with him on the court. Back at the outset of LeBron's career, he and Stephen were once on good terms. In fact, their old interviews would suggest that they were actually pretty tight.
How big are you right now? I heard you're about 25 pounds heavier than you was last year. Is that true?
No, not 25 pounds. I'm about 20.
About 20 pounds?
Yeah, probably.
What have you been eating? What you doing gaining 20 pounds?
Wheaties.
Wheaties. That's what it is? That's what it is? Are you going to be harder against the Los Angeles Lakers and Kobe Bryant? Any fantasies about that at all?
Oh, it'd be a good one.
I said, have there been any fantasies about it?
But as Bron's career persisted, there's been a degree of tension that's only gotten worse over time. One notable incident came in the midst of Kyrie Irving's departure from Cleveland, with Stephen claiming there was major hostility between him and Bron.
Kyrie did not know that LeBron was coming back to Cleveland. So Kyrie was salty from that moment. Now, it doesn't mean that they had a contentious relationship. They've talked on many occasions. According to my sources, LeBron James has tried to appease him at every turn. A matter of fact, I had sources in LeBron James camp literally tell me, and I'm quoting Charles, if Kyrie Irving was in front of LeBron James right now, LeBron James would be tempted, quote, to beat his ass, end quote.
But almost immediately, LeBron broke his off-season silence to discredit what he had said. Not facts, people. Boo. Get another source. Hashtag enjoying my summer. Hashtag you do the same. Since then, it's always been a little bit frosty, but never anything severe. However, the final straw for King James came after Smith had been overzealous in his criticism of Bronny, LeBron's oldest son and latest teammate on the Lakers, by claiming he should not even be in the league. This led to a confrontation on the court.
This was
with
like a
Bron
few
letting
months
Smith
ago.
know exactly what he thought about him running his mouth. Considering how heated this was, people wondered if things could have escalated. While in Stephen A's part, he insisted he wouldn't have hesitated to throw hands.
LeBron James is full of it. And in this particular instance, as it pertains to his son, he is a liar. And he went on national television today and he lied again. I was in no position to give any kind of retort without making a scene. It was during the third quarter. It was fresh out of a timeout. It was him walking to the basketball court. It was on national television. The cameras were rolling. And had I done something, what do y'all want me to do? You want me to act, you want this to be a reincarnation of Chris Rock and Will Smith? And let me state for the record that while we bring up that, let me assure you it wouldn't have gone down like that. I would have gotten my ass kicked because had that man put his hands on me, I would have immediately swung on him. Immediately.
Understandably, LeBron nor anyone else really took this seriously, and to really show how ridiculous he felt it was, LeBron unveiled a shady IG post where he mocked Smith's boxing skills.
That's cutting, raise him up. Yeah, make it more free. That push. Clean up that cut.
While some fans were rejoicing at LeBron finally embracing the pettiness, Steven insisted James should have been above that, as if LeBron hasn't been the target of hate for a long time and has perhaps finally had enough.
He puts out some page about me, boxing and all of this other stuff from a decade ago with 2 torn rotator cuffs. Fine, no problem. It's very, very embarrassing video. I'll be the first to say and all that stuff, even though I like it to be left up there. Because if people think I want to throw hands like that, that's how I throw hands, knock yourself out. I'm good with it. I know that the man I am today is not the man that I was a decade ago, physically or beyond. I can tell you that. So we get that out the way. Why do I bring that up? Because that's how petty you've become. You're LeBron James. You that butthurt over the things that I'm saying, that you would post that video. When has LeBron James ever done something like that? But suddenly you're doing that as it pertains to me. This man is in his feelings. I wonder why. Could it be because I don't believe you're the GOAT? Because I'll never believe you're the GOAT?
All the while, Smith continued to try and be tough, insisting he was not concerned by the prospect of violence because he had someone else to fight his battles for him.
What do you feel would have happened if you would have swung on LeBron?
I know a lot of people think that, and I really didn't want to talk about it because I don't want to talk about him. But the bottom line is this. People can say I get my ass kicked. Fine, go ahead. Did you see who I walked in with?
I did.
He was 10 feet away. So whatever's gonna happen would have had to happen quick. Because that brother right there is 330 plus. That is my bodyguard, not to mention a whole bunch of other people that I usually have around me. I really have very little to be worried about. Anybody can get got.
Despite the fact that Steven was constantly rehashing the incident, LeBron initially kept silent about it. However, during his trip to the Pat McAfee show, James revealed that he felt that Steven was enjoying his time at the height of relevancy courtesy of LeBron.
He's like on a Taylor Swift tour run right now.
Oh yeah, we're watching it. Yep. We're all seeing it.
Oh yeah,
you're seeing it as well.
He literally, it started off with, I didn't want to address it. I didn't want to address it. I wasn't going to address it. But since the video came out, I feel the need to address it.
Yeah, you would be not to talk about it.
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait to the video to drop so you could address it, it's your ass. Like seriously, it's. And like another, he completely like missed the whole point. The whole point.
However, boosting his profile wasn't his intention. Instead, he believed it was up to him to set a precedent against people like Steven, even if he knew that giving him more publicity is exactly what he wants.
It's my job to not only protect my damn household, but protect the players. You know, and I think a lot of the media, including him, and I know he's gonna be happy as hell. He's gonna be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about it again. Oh my God, he's gonna get home and grab some ice cream out of the fucking freezer and sit in his chair in his tighty whities on the couch.
After he revealed why he had taken this stand against Smith's explanation, fans were jubilant over how much LeBron seemed to have his number. I'm glad LeBron confronted a clown like Stephen A. Smith, who just plays the victim every day and knows nothing about basketball. And trust me, that's not the last time someone will refer to him as a clown in this video. Since everything went down, LeBron's been all business. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith has made his anti-LeBron bias crystal clear, claiming that
he called him Stephen. It's Stephen A. Smith. Hold on, let me no, not the mic. Desktop audio. I don't want that to overlap my voice. Okay, there we go. Yeah, he called him Stephen A. Smith, but Stephen A. is known for like saying stuff and then playing victim on his show. He's not one of my favorite analysts, you know, because sometimes he can give out false information and say things that aren't true. Because I think he says something about what's that guy? I think Lonzo Ball. He was claiming that Lonzo Ball was hurt or something like that. And Lonzo responded to him. Was like saying like, "Hey, Stephen A, why you lying? You know, why you lying on me?" Stephen A has had beef with a lot of people, like um with Skip Bayless, and I'm trying to think. It was somebody in the NFL that he had a little beef with. Matter of fact, Terrell Owens. That's who it is. He had a dispute with Terrell Owens. I'm pretty sure that this is in this video too. I'm pretty sure that it
The
is.
league has handed Bron unfair
Let's
advantages
see though.
heading into the finals in the past.
This is the 6th time LeBron James finds himself in the postseason down 3-1.
Hey,
The only time he's won is when the league granted him that stimulus package and suspended Draymond
Okay.
Green.
okay.
That's
hey,
right.
Hey,
You
Perk,
say all you want
hey,
to, Wendy.
Hey, Perk, Wendy.
It was a stimulus package.
As well as suggesting he's playing second fiddle to his new superstar teammate in Luka Doncic.
Top Robbins are the 2025 players. That's the number 2 option right there, in case you didn't know what Robin is, all right? That's her cape. That's not the Cape
on this
Crusader.
show.
That's his right-hand man, okay? The right-hand man of the Cape Crusader. Give me number 3 on the list, please, right now. Bam! This dude right here. The number 1 seed in the NBA. Give me number 2 on the list, please, right now. Hurry up, damn it. We ain't got time. Bam! Buckets. You see what he did last night?
Yeah.
You saw what he
Good.
did Sunday.
Very good.
Who's the number 1 Robin? Bam! LeBron James.
But long before LeBron was the king of the league, there were other hotly tipped players who were on the receiving end of Steven's wrath. And now they want to see him out of a job. Stephon Marbury always seemed to be a target for Steven during his time in the NBA. Smith frequently criticized his output during his playing career, particularly during his time at the Knicks.
Comes down to Stephon Marbury. This is a guy, 10 years in the league, 6 years in the draft lottery, the other 4 years out in the first round. He's done absolutely nothing. And when you consider the greatness of his talent, forget his head, because we all know he's a head case from time to time because he never thinks he's wrong about anything. But when you think about his game, this guy can play the game of basketball. He can shoot, he can handle, he can go to the hole at will, he can dish off, he can defend when he wants to, he can hit from the perimeter, he can do it all. There is no excuse for this. And when you consider the fact that everywhere he's left, teams have gotten better after his departure, and you consider the fact that he wanted to be in New York, he wants to be back home, and he wanted to play for a coach like Isaiah Thomas. He's gotten everything he wants. He's getting paid max dollars. Give me max production.
And since hanging up his sneakers, Stephon, who spent much of his career in China, became a vocal opponent of Smith, especially when it came to his ongoing and admittedly personal beef with Kyrie Irving.
It's sad to hear Stephen A. Smith talk about Kyrie Irving the way how he's talking about him, calling him selfish. This man has done so much stuff for human beings and giving back and trying to help so many different people, all different cultures, not just black people. This is what happens when you have people like this guy who's animated, not realistic about what it is that he speaks and talks about. He played a little bit of basketball, but come on, serious? You letting this guy talk to you about sports? This guy never got hit in a football game. We never swung a bat, and this is the person who they have speaking and talking about what's going on in sports. Man, y'all need to defund his voice.
In the aftermath of these claims, Steven didn't take it well, electing to make things personal even while pretending not to do so.
I will say Stephon Marbury has had a problem with me since 2009 because we thought he was a bit bizarre when he was eating Vaseline, literally on video. Like it was a
What?
bunch of cheeseburgers or something, like gobbling Vaseline. Crying, he later admitted he was depressed and what have you, and then obviously because of that, the level of awareness with issues of mental health came in the fold, and so that's nothing to joke about.
Back. Take some Vaseline and swallow it.
I can understand it. Stephon Marbury was on 5 different NBA teams. Stephon Marbury was somebody that was considered an incredible, tremendous talent who had leadership issues when he was in the NBA. And so it seems more than apropos that he would come to the support of a Kyrie Irving.
In his own response to what Steven had to say, Marbury felt he was insensitive, and that it told him everything he had to know about Smith as a man.
Are you talking about me being depressed because I was crying about my dad? Are you serious? Like, that's what you went on national TV to do, to tell people and try to make me look a certain way by talking about something was wrong with me because I was depressed? You talked about my depression, my mental, me being depressed. You tried to make me look bad on national TV by saying I was depressed and I was eating Vaseline. Really? Because I ate this? People stick heroin in their arms and you was talking about me eating this? Come on. How low are you?
To this day, Marbury continues to accuse him of trying to bring down the black community, and whenever possible, he has argued that he should be ousted from the media space once and for all.
But when you sit and you talk about these black brothers the way that you do, when you speak and you talk about Kyrie the way that you talk about him, I wonder why. Why is it that you do this to them? Because they are strong black and they stand on their own 2 feet and they do not care about what others say? Is wrong. When are we going to defund his voice?
However, he's not the only one who feels like Smith should be deplatformed.
That's a shame,
Over the
man.
years, Stephen A. Smith has had plenty of rants that have morphed into viral moments, but none live in infamy quite like the frequent and
Oh,
ridiculous
God.
rant he had for Kwame
Oh,
Brown.
God.
During his time at the Lakers in particular, Stephen insisted that Kwame was basically incapable of playing the sport.
Kwame
and
Brown.
must whenever possible.
I'm gonna tell you why I say Kwame Brown or Rasho the Slava Medvedenko. I'll tell you why. Because you're Kwame Brown. You're 7 feet tall. You're the #1 overall draft pick, okay? You come into this league, you came in without a jump shot. You came in without the ability to rebound. You came in without the ability to do nice footwork, to pass, to rebound, to defend, to score points, or whatever the case may be. And it's a decade later, and you're still that dude. You've never worked and put forth your due diligence in order to take advantage of the privileged opportunity that you were in. And when I see that level of consistency as it pertains to an aptitude, I'm going to call somebody out. If a dude is playing like garbage, you don't sit there and point out he's playing like garbage?
Of course
you don't
I
sit
do,
there and point out how he's not living up to expectations?
I don't want to get away from what we're talking about because that's what makes this
Oh,
great.
I'm saying on the point. I'm right here.
But
I'm right here.
there's a difference between reporting what you see in the box score at the game or calling someone a scrub. If I make
But he is a scrub.
Not
if he's a scrub. And
No,
you know it.
Kwame Brown may be a scrub compared to Shaquille O'Neal.
And when he found out he was being traded from the Lakers, Stephen celebrated as though his time there was physically costing him money.
Kwame Brown is gone. The City of Angels, Hollywood, just should be celebrated. Throw a parade already, whether you win a championship or not. This man was a bona fide scrub. He can't play. No disrespect whatsoever, but I'm sorry to tell everybody the truth. The man cannot play the game of basketball. He has small hands. He can't catch the ball. He's got bad feet. He can't really move, even though he's mobile. Doesn't really know what he's doing. Doesn't have a post move that he puts to memory that he can do 2 times in a row. He has no game whatsoever. Plays no defense, doesn't have the heart, the passion, or anything that comes with it. And you're asking me whether they gave up too much? Please, the Los Angeles Lakers knew exactly what they were doing. They should be celebrating right now.
Although Kwame's career carried on for 5 years after this, the persistent disses from Stephen weighed on him. Nowadays, Kwame has made it clear in interviews that he felt Stephen took it too far in disregarding him.
Yeah.
Noting that he's far from the only one who suffered from it.
Regardless of whether you think I played good and bad in basketball or not, Stephen A. has said things like Andrew Wiggins, I wouldn't trade him for a box of cereal. He don't say that type of stuff about other players. And that type of stuff like that is when this man goes and try to go back into his community and say, I was a football player, let me reach these young kids and help them. These kids can see these memes. These kids can see these tweets. They're not going to want to work with him. But if you get a quarterback like Ryan Leaf or one of these quarterbacks that barely made it in the league and was pushed by or whatever else, he can go back and pour into kids. Jamarcus Russell can't. You're ruining these men names with these labels.
In the wake of Kwame's public campaign against him, Stephen clapped back, claiming he was simply doing his job.
Kwame Brown's been
Yeah, of course.
with everybody these days, talking a whole bunch of smack, saying we don't support black men. Really? The only negative thing anybody ever said about Kwame Brown is that he couldn't play a lick of basketball. Newsflash! That wasn't a lie!
But in spite of insisting it isn't personal, he literally showed a highlight reel of him messing up.
Keep looking. Another drop. Keep going.
Keep going. Another one. And did I miss anything? Keep going. Here's another one. This is just with the Charlotte Hornets.
And as he acted scandalized by being called out, people couldn't help but see the double standard. Stephen A looking down at Kwame for getting attention for ranting, like that isn't literally Stephen A's whole career path. But in a rare instance of remorse, Stephen has began backing down over what happens and claims he regrets the longevity it's had.
Have you ever said something that you thought put too much on it or you went too hard?
I did. I still have regrets about, you know, my sound on Kwame Brown from years ago, you know, because there was no Twitter. There was no social media. I didn't know 15, 16, 17 years later, they'd still be playing this stuff. And I'm like, damn, you know, my bad. But, you know, I mean, I had to clap back at him a couple of times because he was getting too ridiculous, you know. But in the same breath, I understand where he's coming from because, you know, that shit stings when you see somebody talking about you like that. And so then I had to reflect.
In these examples, Stephen A was arguably the aggressor, but it doesn't always pan out that way. Sometimes it's him who's caught in the crossfire of someone else's damning
here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Terrell Owens is a renowned.
This is the meat and potatoes, y'all. The meat and potatoes are here. Terrell Owens. Y'all already know what segment is going to be in this video. Y'all already know. I know. Do y'all know? Y'all should. Happened about 6 years ago.
In the world of sports. So when he began making
And there it is. What did I say?
Take and other shows, Stephen had a formidable opponent to come up against. However, never were things more heated than when they were in the midst of a debate about Colin Kaepernick meeting teams on his terms. From the outset, it was clear that they didn't agree.
Yeah, that's fine. And you want to get your lawyer, and your lawyer wants to stand up there and say, this waiver is an issue. We're ready to work out, but not until they alter this waiver, etc. That's different. But to not do the workout, to change locations, and then to go and give a speech to the media without taking any questions, any inquiry as to what's really going on, you are leaving others to surmise what the hell happened.
Can I
and I
answer
don't
that
think
real
that's
quick?
fair.
But throughout the course of the conversation, T.O. looked like he was holding back until finally, he played his ace in the hole. As a savage putdown, Terrell claimed
Max Kellerman.
Max Kellerman had more stake in the black community than him.
And obviously, Max is going to get in here, and like I said, I'm in the streets. Max almost seems blacker than you, Stephen A. with what he with his with his.
There it is. Yep. That was the comment right there. That Max Kellerman is blacker than Stephen A. That's what T.O. said.
Commentary.
With all due respect, my brother.
I'm just saying, dog.
Wait a minute. Wait to finish.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to check you right now. You don't cross
I'm
the line.
just saying.
Time. Wait a minute.
While it clearly made Kellerman's day, it certainly hurt Stephen's feelings, and that was written all over his face.
Eric Reed, any of y'all that want to debate me in front of black people and talk about what's best for black people, name the time and place, I'll show up. I don't want to hear, what's the definition of blackness? Is there a definitive definition of blackness? Why are you giving the impression that because I don't march lockstep with every single thing that Colin Kaepernick wants? Okay, excuse me. Hold on, wait a minute.
I'm not agreeing.
Wait a minute.
I'm not agreeing with everything that Colin Kaepernick has done.
I'm not saying that, but you said, you just sat up there and used an expression, more blacker. Excuse me, from Hollis, Queens, New York City. You ain't the only brother out there that's in the streets.
As the dust settled, people have wondered if he would ever recover from a put down like that. Man, one of the best receivers ever said a white guy is blacker than you, and everyone agrees too. That's tough. And in some ways, it appears he never has. Ever since then, the animosity has persisted, with occasional exchanges on social media between the two. It's not even Stephen who has been unwilling to let it go, with T.O. insisting that he'll be happy to never exchange another word with him.
Stephen A, he's walking around like just because ESPN has padded his pockets with some millions, he's walking around like he's us, like he's an athlete, like he got that kind of cachet. And then, like I said, mentioning guys that obviously I think highly of, talking about Dion and Shannon and these guys I come across with, on a regular, you know what I mean? That's not cool to be name dropping, you know what I mean? Because now I'm around these guys and I'm like, okay, well, how do they really feel about me? You know what I mean? How do they think about me? So that's where I am with it. You know what I mean? So as he
Did
said,
see this
he don't
interview.
ever have to speak
I
up
saw
himself.
this.
Whether it's former athletes,
Seemed like this is the one that I
present-day
saw.
players, or other presenters, there's no shortage of people who take great pleasure in taking a shot at Steven. However, few of them appear to have cut him as deep
Ooh,
as criticism
is that
of the
KD?
player that he has
Yep.
claimed is among the top 10 of all time.
KD.
Throughout Kevin Durant's career, Stephen A. Smith has always advocated for his clear talents. In fact, he's even suggested that he's every bit as good as LeBron. But this hasn't been without its caveats. For one thing, he had words for him when he left OKC for Golden State.
From Oklahoma City to Golden State. I also am the guy that sat across from Kevin Durant on the boardroom and said, this is the reason. I said, I'm going to stop saying that. Why? Because people misconstrued it, acting as if I was saying that there was something that should besmirch his legacy in terms of him joining the Golden State Warriors, as if he wasn't the player that he wasn't. I said, no, that's not what I meant. What I meant was, and Rudy, you should hear this, my issue with Kevin Durant at the time was, you're so great that going to that team so dramatically shifted the balance of power, there was no reason to watch the NBA that season because nobody was going to beat them. That was my only argument against him. That is what I said.
This even had KD's mom coming at his neck.
Wow, well,
Whoa,
know,
for real?
I thought that was quite harsh. And it's like, who are you, Stephen A., to come at my boy like that? You
I didn't know that.
I think about, like, when he came to ESPN, was that a weak move for him?
Ooh.
Still, despite apologizing to Durant's mother, this criticism carried on.
Wow.
Problems reached their apex when he took issue with Stephen A. critiquing his leadership abilities, a statement which has persisted over the years. From his time in Brooklyn,
He's that poor as a leader. You're the face of this franchise, and you've been deferential because you're deferring to your boy Kyrie. That's your man. He's incredibly loyal and what have you. But Kevin Durant is not just the face of this franchise. And if I could sit up there and say this about Kevin Durant, let me say this. Not only is he the face of the franchise, but he has to understand this. It's surreal, and as much of a superstar as he is as a talent, you have to be trustworthy when it comes to galvanizing the troops around you.
through to the present day at the Phoenix Suns.
You hear that? It's the NBA championship clock ticking on the Suns forward Kevin Durant. Since leaving Golden State, did you know this? Kevin Durant's teams haven't gotten out of the second round of the playoffs.
Over time, he clearly had enough. And when asked about Smith's constant assertion that he wasn't a leader, he didn't hold back. Yeah, Stephen A., I don't understand how people even listen to Stephen A. The Phoenix Suns star told Doug Holler of The Athletic, I've been in the league for 18 years. I've never seen Stephen A. at a practice or a film session or a shoot-around. I've never seen him anywhere but on TV talking shit about players. He's a clown to me. He's always been a clown. You can write that too. Surprisingly, Stephen actually refused to engage too much in the wake of it all, opting for a comparatively respectful approach.
I got bad news for Kevin Durant. If you're expecting me to reciprocate with that kind of pettiness and childishness, it's not going to happen. Kevin Durant is one of the greatest players to have ever played this game. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's a two-time champion and two-time league finals MVP. And I've been on the record saying he's also a good dude. So if he wants to resort to that level, even though we're both grown men, and if he had something to say, he knows my number, and he refrains from doing so, that's what he has to live with.
However, he did argue that KD's claims about his distance from the front line of the sport weren't exactly true.
Kevin Durant has seen me in the locker room when he was at Oklahoma City. He has seen me in the locker room when he was at Golden State. He has certainly seen me at games throughout his career. But unfortunately for him, I don't have to be at shoot-around. And I don't have to be in the post-game locker room. I happen to have a hit show that's been #1 for 12 years. I have other things to do with my time.
But while he felt the issue could have been solved behind the scenes, fans felt that he expected more courtesy than he gives anyone else. So KD should call you if he has something to say, but you don't call them when you have something to say on TV. Clearly, getting dissed by someone he admires is hard for him to abide by. And in that regard, no one gets under his skin like JJ Redick. After his playing days were over,
Oh yeah, yep. Because he was on First Take as well. And he did call out Stephen A. for something.
Time as an analyst led to no shortage of
I think he told Stephen A. He was like that Stephen A. never played like basketball in his life or something.
moments where he squared off with Steven.
You're missing a lot, Stephen A. You're missing a hell of a lot of logic right now. You're missing a hell of a lot of logic. Secondly, hold on.
This is the worst. This is your worst segment. This is the worst segment you've ever had on First Take, JJ. Did he not have 4 months?
Your rebuttals to me are the worst rebuttals you've ever had on First Take. I have a question for both of you. Hold on. I have a question for both of you. I have a question for both of you. I stand by what I said. I stand by my reasoning. I stand by my logic. I can't say the same for you.
Among the highlights were when he routinely pointed out his lack of knowledge.
Let me educate you for a second, Stephen A, because this is important, because this gets brought up all the time. I'm going to educate you for a second, because I have a basic understanding of NBA rules. First of all, hand checking. You weren't allowed to do it in the scoring area. Secondly, illegal defense. How many times have we seen LeBron James isolated on the left wing and seen that secondary defender flood the box? It's called flooding the box and coming all the way across. That's illegal defense. In the NBA, in the 80s and 90s, you could not leave your man. So yes, there's more space now. There's also more help. You think about last night and watching him score, taking on 2 defenders every single time. And by the way, the Jordan rules, I get it, man. There was more physicality for sure. A lot of that was just harder fouls. Well, you know, go watch the 1993 NBA Finals against the Phoenix Suns and tell me that was a physical series.
Well, first of all,
go watch. I've watched every game.
And humbled him at every turn and diminished his takes.
But I'm talking to you about respect and fear. There's no question. We ain't talking about respect for LeBron.
And I'm disagreeing with you completely.
And so you're saying,
there's no credence to Stephen A's argument, JJ.
So you're saying that the people like that, the fear that Michael Jordan instilled in people, that's what LeBron did?
Yes.
Okay.
In a different way. I mean, you're comparing two different things. To say that his peers don't fear him, opposing coaches don't fear him. You think people want to go into a playoff series against LeBron?
No, I'm not talking about basketball. I'm not talking about basketball. On the court, I'm acknowledging his greatness. What I'm saying to you, the way people talk about him, the way they look to attack him, and I'm talking about contemporaries.
Yeah, that's when LeBron and Isaiah Stewart had that little scuffle. LeBron accidentally hit Isaiah Stewart with accident. I don't know if it was accident or not. I don't know. But he hit Isaiah Stewart, and Isaiah Stewart was bleeding badly. And he started getting in LeBron's face and trying to fight him. And LeBron only got suspended for 1 game. And Stewart got suspended for 2 for that altercation. Yeah, I do remember that.
I'm not talking about his performance on the court. That's not what I'm saying. And by the way,
who's attacking LeBron? Who's attacking LeBron?
I'm talking about over the years, people that have come at him. Come on, JJ. I got to go to my archives to look this up.
I would love from a player. Find me a player, more than one. Right. Find me a player who's attacked LeBron.
We do have to get in a commercial break. This is so good.
While he tried it, JJ clearly didn't value Steven's insight, and even once took his disdain so far that he apologized for this one.
3 games at wherever South Dakota, Winston-Salem State doesn't count.
Yes, I got you. I understand. I got a degree and I'm here on TV with you. I must be doing something right.
I just want to apologize because I will admit something, and I shouldn't admit this. I let you get underneath my skin in the A block, and I was a little flustered, and I misspoke. I had a little brain lapse, and I couldn't say Winston-Salem State University, and I did not mean any disrespect to that university or to you.
Still, even though it marginalized Steven, fans loved it and wanted him to stay as a permanent addition to the team, as he provided a whole host of hands-on experience. One of them played in the NBA for a bunch of years, and one of them didn't. Despite how fiery their exchange got at times, it's clear that there was no real bad blood between them, and that it was just professional disagreements. These days, Steven has even praised what he's done during his time as an LA Lakers coach so far, even if he doesn't agree how he got there.
I'd still rake him, because nobody complained about JJ Redick being the coach. It was how it happened. You don't have a podcast with an aspiring head coach while your head coach is coaching you and rumors are swirling that his job is in jeopardy. That's low class. It doesn't change what I said about LeBron. It doesn't change what anybody said about LeBron as it pertains to how everything happened with JJ Redick becoming the head coach.
He wasn't maybe right about scouting JJ Redick as head coach.
I could be right, you could be right, somebody could be right, but how you do something matters. And how that happened was still wrong. I don't give a damn they win a championship. There is no doubt that JJ Redick is a candidate for Coach of the Year. He is sublime offensively. offensively. He knows what the hell he's doing. Nobody expected them to be this elite defensively. We didn't expect that at all. And that's why we're talking about them as title contenders.
Although a vast majority of those who come at Steven's neck are in or around the world of sports, it's important to note that isn't exclusively the case. In fact, one time where he was checked, which seemed to strike at the very heart of Steven's personal shortcomings, came when he was cooked by Alexis Ohanian. If you're not familiar with Alexis, he's not only a co-founder of the hotbed of internet debate that is Reddit, but also happens to be the husband of Serena Williams. Once labeled a groupie by Drake on a track, he's not a man who takes any slander of him or his wife lightly and always seems to know just how to clap back. Steven's churn in Alexis's crosshairs came earlier this year following her participation in the Super Bowl halftime show with Kendrick Lamar. As she appeared crip walking on stage to Not Like Us, Stephen A suggested she was clearly still hung up on Drake and that if she were his wife, he'd be heated.
If I'm married and my wife is going to join trolling her ex, go back to his ass. Because clearly you don't belong with me. What you worried about him for and you with me?
I gotta get that lick back.
As these comments hit the internet, Steven basically had zero supporters, with people inferring that it just wasn't his place to make this kind of call. As someone who has never been married, sit this one out. We don't care what an unmarried 57-year-old has to say about someone else's wife. As the backlash began, Steven insisted it wasn't serious.
Secondly, I didn't utter a disrespectful word towards Serena Williams, so I don't know where the whole Serena protection protocol kicks in. I didn't say anything about her. I said, hey, listen, if I'm a man and I'm married, I certainly don't want my wife showing any kind of energy, positive, negative, or otherwise, to another dude that happens to be her ex. That'll make me think, what's she thinking about him? Why is she thinking about him so much? Why does she feel the need to exert any energy, emotional or otherwise, when it comes to that?
Despite the internet almost unanimously concluding that he'd already come out on the losing end of this exchange without anyone else saying anything, Alexis was still content to flame him. And in one of the most harshest, most soul-eviscerating things you'll ever read, he said this about Steven. I get it, you're 57, and life didn't turn out the way you imagined. That kind of disappointment must be exhausting. You're the embodiment of peaked in high school, spending decades chasing validations from strangers through likes and digital hugs, only to find that no amount of external approval fills the void. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Criticism only fuels your victim complex, reinforcing the comforting delusion that there's some grand conspiracy against you and your brave ideas, when in reality, you've just got terrible takes. It's a cycle. Outrage, backlash, self-pity, repeat. This is a lonely road. There's still time to rewrite the ending. Start by working on yourself first. You'll find that if you wake up every morning trying to be a little better, a little more curious, you won't have time for irrational hating. You'll be busy winning. That has gotta sting. And clearly it did, because even though he is a man who responds to every single remark made about him, Steven decided to sit this battle out. After all, how can you come back from that? Love him or hate him, Steven certainly keeps the sports media world interesting. But there's likely things he could learn from his treatment of people in the past, because when he goes too hard at someone, it's generally him who comes out on the other side, looking like the villain when the beef is done.
Wow. Wow, man. That's crazy. That was a good video. That was a good video. Stephen A, man. Like I said, he's one of my least favorite analysts. He's not really one of my favorites. But Jesus, yo, like he can run his mouth a lot too much. And times that he's gotten checked, you know, I just don't like the dude. I don't really care for the guy that much. He's never been one of my favorites, but that was some interesting stuff. He's had some beef with people over the years. Football, basketball, and the other his other fellow analysts. And it's just crazy. But I've always noted that I always knew that Stephen A was kind of a shady person. He was kind of like a shady guy, but I like this video though. Shout out to the guy who made this video. What's his name? Lou Hoopster? Yeah, Lou Hoopster. Shout out to you, man. That was a great video. I like that. I'm actually gonna like this video. I'm actually gonna give it a like. It was pretty good. A pretty good document. But yeah, let me know what y'all think. about Stephen A. Smith. Is Stephen A. Smith your favorite analyst? Is he not your favorite sports analyst? Y'all let me know in the comments. And I appreciate y'all watching. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Turn on post notifications so you know the next time I upload. And like the video, man. Run up the likes. And I appreciate for giving me the 600 subs too. I appreciate that too. But yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. I'm out of here. Peace out, y'all.